Hey everyone, welcome to the Meta Report. Patch 11.13 brought a new item into the game that quickly became a staple presence in pro play, making an immediate impact. I'm talking of course about Anathema's Chains. With 650 health, ability haste, and an active that allows you to have one opponent deal less damage to you and be crowd control for longer, it isn't hard to understand why so many players are picking it up. In essence, this is a high health item that is also giving you resistances in the form of damage reduction, with the caveat being that you only get the latter against a single opponent, of course. On top of all of this, it only costs 2,500 gold. To put things into perspective, the health on the item alone is worth 1,733 gold, and that's excluding all the other good stuff that it has. It's a very potent item to deal with compositions that have one big single threat, as linking them as the nemesis will reduce a significant amount of damage. An important thing to note about the passive is that it can reduce tenacity below 0%. This functions similarly to Ornn's Brittle, which increases CC duration. This includes all CC applied by you or your teammates, so long as you're within 700 units of your nemesis. This means that Morgana's binding will now last 3.6 seconds, for example, if you have no tenacity, which is probably enough to disconnect you from the game for prolonged inactivity. In the LEC, we have mainly been seeing this being built on tank supports as a first item. Remember the Abyssal Mask trend? Well, it's kind of over already, not because it's bad, but because it's overshadowed by Anathemas. So, is Anathema's Chains a good first item on supports? Short answer, yes. This item synergizes super well with tank supports, because of their kits and because of the keystone they run. Galio, Leona, and even Alistar are frequent aftershock users, and resistances have very good synergy with having a higher health pool. Think of it this way, a target with 2000 health is much tankier if they have 100 armor instead of 40. It means each point of health is that much harder to remove. Aside from this, Galio's W, Leona's W, and Alistar's ultimate all grant damage reduction, meaning that it's harder to punish them because they will still be tanky in the windows where they have their defensive spells up. Generally speaking, I'd say this is excellent on tank supports and totally justifiable as a first item, especially on Leona. We have also seen the item being picked up by top laners, particularly on Dr. Mundo. Is it good as a first item there too? It depends. The item can be excellent when only interacting with one lane opponent in a very extended laning phase, but if that player is then expected to teamfight and group before completing other items, expect bruisers and tanks to suddenly be made of paper. This is especially noticeable when behind and when gold income is more limited, as a player is forced to go into fights with only anathemas and no real resistances on top of it. So, in essence, it can be fine as a first item on Mundo and other bruisers and tanks, but generally speaking, if you're expecting to have to group to teamfight early, it's better suited as a later purchase. Anyways, that pretty much covers it for the new Anathema's Chains. While the item is very strong, there's definitely nuance to when you should be building it. Don't blindly rush it first every single game on every champion.